Hey guys, are you looking to mine IRONFISH on your RTX 3000 series or even a 4070 GPU? Well, great news, because then this video is definitely for you. And I've been working tirelessly since IRONFISH went onto mainnet, testing out a lot of different miners, everything from BZMiner, lolMiner, RegalMiner, SRBMiner, and we're seeing a lot of early adoption going on. Although it's only been a week and a half since the coin has been released, we're seeing it getting picked up already by a couple of exchanges, including Qcoin and Gate.io, giving more opportunity for it to be exchanged and hopefully generate more liquidity and more value for the coin. Although we've seen a lot of miners jump onto this coin initially, I've seen it pull back, but now it's starting to pump back up again, even though the price isn't rallying up yet. But to me, this is the best time to mine because now the difficulty is lower. And then if the coin does rally up, I'll be ready. I'll have hopefully a good bag of it to be able to capitalize on it. But before I begin today's video, I just want to say thank you so much to my subscribers. You subscribing really means the world to me. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Crypto Mining Insider. I am an IT pro by day, and I run a home crypto mining farm 24 hours a day, complete with a lot of ASICS and GPU mining. And I'm always looking for new and creative ways to make more mining revenue. And hopefully what I'm going to be sharing is going to be helping you today. And if it does, please remember to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Before I begin today's video, let's have a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Jingle Mining. Jingle Mining is a global distributor of some of the most powerful and efficient crypto miners available today. They carry miners for top manufacturers, including Jazzminer, iPolo, Goldshell, IBLink, Bitmain, and Annex Miner, and offer quality after-sales support for any miners you purchase. As a premier distributor of Jazzminer, Jingle Mining is uniquely positioned to offer the best deal on these miners. Have you seen their newest miner? The Jazzminer X16Q that mines ETH and ETC at 1,845 megahash using only 630 watts, only 40 decibels, plus it has an 8 gigabyte. If you're interested in this or any of the miners carried by Jingle Mining, check out jinglemining.com. I'll be putting links in the video description below, along with a coupon code that could save you some money. In today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating my best overclocks mining IRONFISH with all of my RTX 3000 series GPUs and my new RTX 4070. I'm going to show how I set up and configure it in Windows and in HiveOS. And for each card I mine, I'm going to be sharing two overclock settings. One is the most efficient, and the next is the optimal, which is going to give the higher hash rate without sacrificing much of the efficiency. If you're new to mining IRONFISH, it uses the Blake 3 algorithm, which is very core intensive, but not very memory intensive. For the overclocks, I'm going to be specifying a locked core clock value along with a core clock offset. This is going to have the effect of undervolting the card. I'm going to dial the memory clock all the way down too, which is going to further improve our power consumption. And this combination together is going to give me the optimal or the absolute best overclock I can get. One of the things I love about mining IRONFISH, it doesn't require a lot of power. It doesn't generate a lot of heat. So for me, this is a very, very attractive point. It's a lot lower than if I mined coins like Ethereum or Ethereum Classic. A final point I want to make to you is always mine safely. Make sure you have the correct gauge wiring for all your wiring, and you have adequate power supplies as if the GPUs ran at their full capacity. Sometimes I've seen miners, especially on Windows, they will lose the overclock settings. And you don't want a card that you had dialed down to about 90 watts to all of a sudden start shooting up to 230. So be prepared and always mine safely. If you plan on mining IRONFISH in Windows, you're going to want to download lolMiner 1.75. That's what I've used for all my testing. And in that version, scroll down a little bit and you'll see that there's the lolMiner 1.75 underscore win64.zip. You're going to want to download and extract that file into its own folder. Once you've downloaded and extracted into its own folder, you can look through the folder and you'll see on top of having an lolMiner executable or application, there's a lot of other template files. And these are files to get you mining certain coins really quickly. So if we're looking to mine IRONFISH, you would just scroll down until you see mine IRONFISH here. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to edit it. This is the actual batch file that will start up and mine IRONFISH. However, I'm going to need to update the pool if I'm going to be using hero miners in my location. You're going to go to whatever mining pool you want to use. Maybe it's Hero Miners, maybe it's Flex Pool. And you're going to need here your wallet. This would be your IRONFISH wallet. Now you could use a full node to get that, or you could also, some people would be mining into exchanges. Like I know recently Qcoin has added IRONFISH to it too. And then there's no information here for overclocks, but that's pretty easy because all I would have to do is go to, for Win 10, like if you're in Win 10 after the wallet section and before the watchdog exit, I'm going to add a set of commands here. And these are the overclock settings that I'm going to be showing you later in the video that I use for my overclocks. So this is just telling it --COFF, pass a core clock offset of 300, plus 300. --core clock 1420, it's a locked core clock of 1420. Mem clock is going to be standard at 810. I'm using a 3060 Ti, so I'm going to use a power limit of about 140 and 70 fan. So if you add this command to it, you should be all set. And once that's closed up, you should be able to just take it, file it, save it, close it, and then you come in here and you just right click and you'll just click Run as Administrator. You have to run this as administrator because you're going to be passing in the overclocks to commands. And that's what you need to start this miner up. And that's really all there is to it. Looking at my HiveOS dashboard, you can see I have a lot of mining going on for IRONFISH. I have 77 GPUs up mining 861 gigahash of IRONFISH. So for me, getting the best or the most optimal overclocks is really essential to getting their best performance. And it makes a big difference, especially when you span it across multiple cards. And I have everything from RTX 3060s all the way up to a 3090. Actually, and now I have the 4070, which I'm going to be including in my test results too. But to specify the overclocks in HiveOS is different than you would conventionally do. So typically in HiveOS, here's my 3070 rig. This is one of my favorite rigs. Typically though, in HiveOS, I would come here and I would click on the edit overclock settings. I'd be passing in my core clock offset, memory clock offset, power limit, etc. Hahowever, the values I'm going to be specifying are going to be beyond the range of HiveOS. So instead, I'm going to be passing them in directly from the flight sheet. So if I open up my flight sheet, you can see the coin, the miner, etc. I'm using. And this is on lolMiner 1.75, which was just released a few days ago. And if I edit my flight sheet and go into the set miner config, at the very bottom in the extra config arguments, you could see I'm specifying all my overclocking parameters right here. So here I'm specifying a core clock offset of plus 300 and a locked core clock of 1320. Now, specifying a locked core clock along with a positive core clock offset has the effect of undervolting the card, making it reduce the power consumption even more. I'm using a locked memory clock of 810, which further reduces my memory requirements. As a safeguard, I'm specifying a power limit. Some people do not specify this. I just choose to do it in case the card or the miner loses the overclock settings. Hopefully it doesn't run full force because then it'll be running very inefficient and consuming a lot of power. And a fan of about 70. Now you may want to adjust these values depending upon your situation. I find typically to nighttime or even when it's cooler, the cards will run using less wattage, so they'll run actually even more efficient. However, during the daytime, I may want to maybe increase my fan a little bit, or you'll just want to adapt this based on your environment. Now let's go take a look at how this miner is running. So here we are, 13 3070s with the identical overclock. And you can see, although I'm getting the same hash rate across all these cards using the locked core clock, the power consumption is significantly different. Everything from 64.3, I'm getting some that are 69. I'm seeing some even come down low as 57. Wow, that card's like a diamond. Some cards are up at 68. So this is really silicone lottery. Some cards will perform better than others. You should still get about the same mega hash, but the power consumption is going to vary, which is going to affect your overall efficiency. Here we are inside my mining farm, and there's my test rig. And in my test rig, it's loaded up with RTX 3000 series cards. And I've just added a new RTX 4070 card. That's the Founders Edition card on the bottom left you can see there. Let me give you a quick overview of my mining rig. There's an MSI Gaming X Trio 3060, EVGA 3060 Ti for the win, an EVGA 3070 XC3, an EVGA 3070 Ti XC3, and an EVGA 3080 XC3. Next to that is a for the win card, a 3080 Ti, and then on the end is a 3090 for the win card. And there is the new Founders Edition, RTX 4070. These cards sold out super quick. I'm really impressed with the mining results so far. And that's all running on an ASRock H110 Pro BTC motherboard with a EVGA power supply and a server power supply. This is my test rig running with my most efficient overclocks. And I'm really impressed by the overall performance of this rig, especially using the latest lolMiner 1.75. You can also see I'm using a very recent NVIDIA drive, a 530.41.03. And that's due to me having the 4070 card in. Wow, is that card doing great. The 4070 is giving me a 161 about efficiency, but it's giving me almost double the hash rate of a 3070. So that's really impressive, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of other tests with this card going forward. Here's my test rig running with the optimal overclocks. What do I mean by optimal? Optimal meaning giving me an even higher hash rate, but without sacrificing much of that efficiency. I want to be able to get the greatest profit out of my cards. So when the coin prices are high, I'm going to definitely want to go for my optimal. When they're low, I'm going to go for more efficient. But with that said, let's go take a look at the individual overclocks. Let's take a look at the overclock settings I'm using to get these great mining results. Beginning with my RTX 3060. This is my MSI Gaming X Trio. But let me give you a little bit of an overview of the screen layout. You're going to see the most efficient overclock as well as the optimal displayed clearly beneath it. And off to the side of it, you're going to see the hash rate, the wattage, and the efficiency. I've even included my custom graphs, which I personally use to dial in the cards to get the best results out of them. And you could see in blue, you could see the hash rate will increase pretty linearly as you increase the core clock on it. However, the wattage is in red, the power consumption, the overall efficiency is not linear. So dialing these cards really takes a lot of hard work and a lot of tests. And I've actually had to do hundreds of tests to get these mining results. But hopefully it gives you some visual idea of what really goes into putting the overclocks there, as well as some acceptable ranges where you can find the sweet spots on your cards. And this card did great. So the 3060 gave me 6,973 mega hash using only 56.5 watts with an overall efficiency of 123.36. The next card I tested was my RTX 3060 Ti. This card gave me 9,781 mega hash using 70.4 watts with an overall efficiency of 138.86. So it's really great. This card's performance is very, very similar to a 3070, even though it doesn't have as much core, but the overall efficiency is fantastic on it. The next card I tested was my RTX 3070. This is probably my favorite card, and probably one of yours too, at least until I seen the 4070, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But this card punched through over 12,338 mega hash using 96.4 watts with an overall efficiency of 128.03. This card is a really powerful card and it performs extremely well in, of course, many different mining algorithms. The next card I tested was my RTX 3070 Ti. This is another EVGA XC3 card, and it gave me similar results to the 3070 and still a very high efficiency. 12,927 mega hash using 102 watts at a 125.69 efficiency. The next card I tested is my RTX 3080. This is the EVGA XC3, and this card performed really well on the upper end of it. So between the efficient and the most optimal, there wasn't much room there, and it was definitely on the upper range of the card. But I was able to get 17,990 mega hash using 150.3 watts with an overall efficiency of 119.34. Now with this card, considering the best performance as well as the efficient is on the upper range, you may want to consider using the most efficient because you're not sacrificing much of the hash rate for that added efficiency. The next card I test is my RTX 3080 Ti. This gave me over 20,973 mega hash to be exact at 161.6 watts using a 130 efficiency. And it performed great, but again, on the higher end of the card. I wasn't getting much lower results by using one step down on the core clock. The next card I tested was my RTX 3090. And this card's been performing great for mining Ironfish, as well as recently when I've done my overclock video for Caspa. But again, it's on the higher range of the card that the card really excelled. But I was able to get 21,690 megahash using 165 watts, giving me overall efficiency of 131. So it was great to be able to have a card that could perform really well on these algorithms. And cards like the 3090 were normally not too efficient, especially for Ethereum mining. They do really well on Caspa as well as Ironfish. And the last card I can't wait to share with you, and I was really blown away by this card's results, is my 4070. The 4070 performed epic, giving me 19,293 megahash, but only using 117.2 watts, giving me a 164.52 efficiency. And I'm very impressed with it, and I can't wait to do some Caspa testing as well as test the 4000 series on other cards. What do you guys think of this card? It's almost like twice the hash rate of a 3070, but it's given the same efficiency overall as a 3070. Now that I've shared my best overclocks with you, from my most efficient to my optimal, I thought it would be great to share with you the graphs stacked side by side so you could see how unique the cards are and how they behave very, very differently. Although as I increase the locked core clock, you could see the hash rate will increase almost linearly. The power consumption is very, very different. It will slope all over the place, as you can see in red. That's the efficiency for each card. So you can see the 3060 goes to a little bit past halfway before it starts sloping down. The 3060 Ti will go to about the mid-range. The 3070 is most efficient on the lower end, but it has an overall higher efficiency than most cards. The 3070 Ti is very similar to the 3070, but it also has an additional peak up in the middle. The 3080, 3080 Ti, and 3090, they all perform typically better on the higher range of the card overall. And the 4070 really blew my mind. It's almost linear if you look at the slope of it, but it's a slight down slope, but it performed incredible. This card was like having two 3070s, considering the performance it had at the efficiency. Hopefully, by you seeing these graphs side by side, gives you some ideas of ways you can get the best performance out of your cards. That about wraps it up for today, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing my best overclocks mining Ironfish on my RTX 3000 series, as well as the 4070 card. That card really performed mind-blowing, and I look forward to a lot of tests in the future. And if you've watched this far, thank you very, very much. Put hashtag Ironfish down in the comments so I know. And if you have any questions or comments or even suggestions of ways I can improve my overclocks, I'd love to know, so please drop a comment down below. And before I go too, if you've enjoyed this and it helps you, please remember to like and subscribe. You subscribe and it really means a lot to me. So until next time, stay safe. I'll see you on the next video.